Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sharing Stories Presents Book Summaries. Today we have Our Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Let's dive right into it. What does this book have to offer?
Well, it offers a pretty massive reality check, honestly.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. I mean, imagine your body and mind are like this high-performance sports car, right?
Right.
But you've spent, your entire life just terrified to shift out of first gear.
Exactly.
So the core mission of our deep dive today is to explore this really staggering but evidence-backed argument from the book.
And it's a bold one.
It totally is. The argument is that when you feel completely exhausted, like totally burned out and ready to quit, you are actually only at about 40% of your true capacity.
Which is just wild to think about.
Right. It means you, me, everyone listening to us right now, we're all leaving a massive reservoir of physical, mental, and emotional potential completely untouched.
Yeah, completely dormant.
So today we are looking at exactly how to bypass your brain's natural limits and unlock that power.
And to do that, the central premise we are working with today, it completely rejects this modern obsession we have with life hacks.
Oh yeah, the quick fixes.
Right, the comfortable shortcuts. The source material argues very forcefully that extraordinary human growth simply does not happen in a state of ease.
No, not at all.
It only occurs when people make this conscious, willing choice to confront hardship, and discomfort head on.
Yeah, moving toward the friction.
Exactly. The entire thesis is about moving toward the friction of life, rather than, organizing your whole existence to avoid it.
Okay, let's unpack this, because if we are going to talk about redefining your own limits, we have to establish exactly where your starting line is,
Right. You have to know where you're starting from.
Bring your book to life with AI. Plotsformovies.com helps you create movie-like trailers for your book, allowing filmmakers to visualize your story just the way you imagined it while writing. Enhance the storytelling experience to a whole new level with realistic characters, immersive voiceovers, and cinematic sound effects. No more boring stock images or generic clips. Captivate your audience, spark curiosity, make readers and filmmakers eager to explore more. Plotsformovies.com, where your story becomes cinema.
And according to the text, unlocking this hidden potential, it demands looking at your past and your present with a level of brutal honesty that, honestly, most of us actively avoid.
We run from it.
Yeah.
And the author's own background provides, the extreme baseline for this argument.
Yeah, it's intense.
Very. We are talking about an environment marked by severe physical abuse from a terrifying father.
Wow.
Yeah, and growing up surrounded by just intense racism in rural Indiana.
Just compounded trauma.
Exactly. Plus, crushing poverty and total instability. And on top of that, he had severe learning disabilities.
Right. I remember reading that he was, reading at a third grade level in high school?
Yeah, third grade level. And he possessed basically zero self-confidence.
Which makes sense, given all of that.
Absolutely. I mean, many people would look at those compounding circumstances and view them as permanent, insurmountable obstacles.
Like a life sentence.
Right, a life sentence handed down by biology and environment.
But the book establishes a hard rule here, which is your past does not define your future.
Which, I know, it sounds like a generic motivational poster.
Yeah, totally. Like something in a corporate break room. But the application here is incredibly heavy.
It really is.
The argument is that your past absolutely influences you. It shapes your starting position. But it does not condemn you to remain the person those circumstances created.
And taking ownership of that reality is where the shift actually happens.
Yeah.
Because there is a crucial distinction to be made here between fault and responsibility.
Right. They aren't the same thing.
Not at all. Your circumstances, whether that is severe childhood trauma or, a terrible economy or an abusive boss, they might not be your fault.
You didn't ask for them.
Exactly. You didn't ask for them. But your response to those circumstances is entirely your responsibility.
That is a heavy burden to accept.
It is, but it's also the mechanism for liberation. I mean, forward progress only begins the exact second your excuses end.
Yeah, and to end those excuses, the author implemented a tool he called the accountability mirror.
Oh, I love this concept.
It's so striking visually. He would literally write uncomfortable truths about himself on sticky notes and just stick them right on his bathroom mirror.
And we are not talking about, positive affirmations here.
Yeah. No. He wasn't writing, you are a tiger, go get him.
Right.
He was writing things like, you are overweight, or you are undisciplined, you are reading at a third-grade level.
Brutal.
Very brutal. He forced himself to look himself in the eyes every single morning while brushing his teeth and acknowledge reality rather than looking away.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, human psychology is practically built to protect our egos.
Oh, for sure. We are absolute masters of rationalization.
We really are. We tell ourselves we're just big-boned, or we just haven't found our true passion yet, or the system is rigged against us.
Always an excuse.
Right, and we do this to avoid cognitive dissonance.
A mental pain.
Yeah, the mental pain of holding two conflicting beliefs like, I am a capable person and I am failing at life.
They can't both be true in our heads.
Exactly. But true self-awareness requires shattering that protection. When you avoid uncomfortable truths, you put an artificial ceiling on your own growth.
Yeah, you simply cannot fix a problem if your ego refuses to let you admit exactly what the problem is.
Precisely.
It reminds me, honestly, of checking your bank account after a really long, incredibly expensive vacation.
The worst feeling.
Right. You know the number's going to be bad. It is physically painful to log in and look at the screen.
You just want to delete the app.
Exactly. But ignoring it doesn't make the debt magically disappear. It just makes the underlying anxiety worse and allows the interest to compound in the background.
Which is a disaster.
Yeah, you have to look at the terrifying number to start fixing the budget.
Yeah.
But let me push back on this on behalf of the listener for a second.
Great, go for it.
Is there a danger that this brutal honesty just spirals into, destructive self-criticism? How do you separate confronting reality from just beating yourself up?
That's a great question, because destructive self-criticism is deeply emotional, right? And it's usually tied to your inherent worth as a human being.
Like a judgment.
Yeah, it sounds like a permanent judgment. Things like, I'm a failure, I'm worthless, I'm stupid.
Right, okay.
But the accountability mirror is designed to be purely objective and behavioral.
Ah, I see.
So writing, you are undisciplined, is an observation of your current output, not a condemnation of your permanent soul.
It's an assessment of the machinery, not the operator.
Exactly. Beautifully said. When you state a fact objectively like, I am out of shape, it immediately invites a mechanical solution.
It becomes a data point to be solved.
Yes, rather than an emotional judgment you just have to suffer through.
But there is a massive gap between, calmly accepting you are undisciplined while looking in the mirror and actually suffering through the work required to change it.
Oh, a huge gap. Your brain naturally rebels against that sudden shift.
So once you face the brutal truth, the next phase is redefining your entire relationship with pain and discomfort.
Because we live in a modern world that is hyper-engineered for convenience.
Seriously, everything is too easy.
We have infinite entertainment algorithms, instant food delivery, perfect climate control.
Right.
And our brains, they are evolutionary machines, wired to seek calories and conserve energy.
Because that kept us alive.
Right. We default to the path of least resistance because, for our ancestors, saving energy literally meant surviving the winter.
Yeah.
But the source material argues that in the modern world, this biological default is killing our potential. Growth and comfort rarely, if ever, coexist.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because the book uses this specific phrase, callousing the mind.
Yes.
And I keep thinking about learning to play the acoustic guitar.
Oh, that's a good comparison.
Because when you first pick it up, pressing your soft fingertips down on those steel strings is pure, sharp pain.
It hurts so much.
Your fingers literally blister. You desperately want to quit. But if you keep playing through the discomfort, your skin physically adapts to the friction.
It builds calluses.
Exactly. You build calluses. And eventually those calluses not only stop the pain, but they actually allow you to create music.
The mechanism is identical for your neurology. Yeah. Just like the skin adapts to physical friction, the mind develops resilience through repeated, deliberate exposure to psychological and emotional stress.
So avoiding it makes you weak.
Actively weakens your mental toughness, yes. It makes you increasingly fragile to just the everyday bumps of life.
That makes a lot of sense.
By intentionally facing challenges, forcing yourself through a grueling workout or volunteering for public speaking when you are terrified of it, or even just fumbling through the embarrassment of learning a complex new skill, You are deliberately creating those mental calluses.
You are teaching your nervous system to tolerate higher levels of stress without panicking.
Exactly.
Which brings us to arguably the most famous concept in the book, which is the 40% rule.
Oh yeah, this is the big one.
The idea is that when you are running or studying or working and your mind is just screaming at you that you are completely finished, like that you physically cannot take one more step or read one more page, you have usually only reached about 40% of your actual capacity.
And the science behind this is rooted in something called the central governor theory.
Okay, what's that?
Well, as we discussed, our brains are highly conservative survival machines. The perceived limits our brains set are essentially early warning protective mechanisms.
Like a warning light.
Think of it exactly like the low fuel light coming on in your car dashboard when you still have a solid 2 or 3 gallons left in the hidden reserve tank.
Oh, I hate when it does that, but it saves me from stalling.
Right. The brain wants you to stop because it wants to maintain a massive reserve of safety. It's trying to ensure you don't damage your heart or completely deplete your glycogen stores.
So it's projecting the feeling of exhaustion just to trick you into stopping.
Exactly that. Fatigue is often an emotion, not a purely physical state.
That is wild.
The author proved this during Navy SEAL Hell Week and by running 100-mile ultramarathons while suffering from stress fractures and kidney failure.
Which is insane. I mean, please, no one listening to this go do that.
Right, definitely don't. But the point is, it wasn't that his muscles were truly failing. It was that his brain was artificially lowering the ceiling to keep him safe.
So people quit because the sensation of discomfort becomes too loud, not because they have hit actual mechanical failure.
Precisely.
Wait, let's look at the practical application for you listening right now. How can you tell the difference between hitting that 40% fake limit, where you just need to override the system and push harder, versus hitting a genuine 100% physical limit, where you might actually injure yourself or suffer a mental breakdown?
Yeah, distinguishing between the two requires deep internal calibration, which, ironically, you only develop by spending significant time in that uncomfortable zone.
So you have to go there to know it.
Right. A genuine physical limit usually presents as an acute, sharp mechanical failure, like a torn muscle, a bone stress, a sudden inability to bear weight.
A real injury.
Yes. The 40% limit, on the other hand, is usually a systemic, diffuse discomfort.
Like just being really tired.
Your lungs are burning, your muscles are heavily aching, there is a thick fog of fatigue, and crucially, there is a very loud internal monologue begging you to stop.
Oh, the voice.
The key is analyzing that internal voice.
The voice that tells you you've done enough for today.
The negotiator.
The negotiator, yeah.
If the voice in your head is actively negotiating with you, offering you perfectly rational-sounding excuses for why it's totally acceptable to quit early today, that is the 40% governor kicking in.
It's sneaky.
Very.
Oh.
Your brain is using logic to try and force you back to comfort.
Okay, so let's say you recognize the negotiator, you hear the voice, and you know logically you still have 60% left in the hidden reserve tank.
Right.
Knowing it is one thing, but how do you actually convince yourself to keep going, especially when that initial burst of excitement for a new project fades and the grinding daily reality of the hard work sets in?
Well, the text explicitly warns against relying on motivation.
Because it fades.
Because motivation is a feeling. It is a highly unreliable chemical state that depends entirely on your mood or how much sleep you got last night or an inspiring video you watched 10 minutes ago.
Right. It's totally fleeting.
It is incredibly fleeting. Discipline is what actually moves the needle, because discipline requires acting in strict accordance with your goals, regardless of how you feel in the biological moment.
It's like motivation is the starter motor in your car.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
It's designed to provide a quick, high-energy electrical spark to turn the engine over, but it will completely burn out if you try to actually drive the car using only the starter motor.
Right, you'd ruin it.
Discipline is the internal combustion engine. It's mechanical, it's repetitive, it's totally unglamorous, but it runs for thousands of miles.
What's fascinating here is how the source material completely flips conventional self-help wisdom on its head regarding confidence.
How so?
Well, a massive amount of literature tells you to just think positive thoughts or visualize success to build confidence.
Like The Secret or whatever.
Yeah, right. But positive thinking alone is incredibly hollow. Your brain knows you are lying to it if you don't have the receipts.
Yeah, you can't trick yourself like that.
True confidence is built exclusively through undeniable evidence. Every time you complete a difficult challenge, especially on a day when you desperately did not want to, you create historical proof that you can overcome obstacles.
You are keeping promises to yourself.
Exactly. And that stacking of evidence is what builds an unbreakable self-image.
To actively utilize that evidence, the author developed a mental technique called the cookie jar method.
I love the cookie jar.
It's so good. When you are in the middle of a brutal struggle, whether that's mile 20 of a marathon or hour 14 of studying for a bar exam and you want to quit, you mentally reach into your cookie jar and pull out a memory of a past victory.
That's a lifeline.
You actively visualize a previous obstacle you conquered, a time you pushed through extreme pain, and you use that specific memory as literal fuel to override the negotiator in your head.
You are intentionally short-circuiting the brain's panic response.
Yeah.
When the internal voice says, "You can't handle this pressure," you reach into the cookie jar and present the neurological evidence.
Like, look at this.
Right. Actually, I can handle this because remember, when we survived that awful financial crisis 3 years ago, we didn't quit then, we figured it out, so we aren't quitting now.
It takes the raw materials of past suffering and refines them into present-day fuel.
Perfectly stated.
But what if you are listening to this right now and you feel like you are starting from absolute zero? If the cookie jar requires past victories to function, what is a person supposed to do if they look back at their life and honestly feel like they haven't achieved anything noteworthy yet? Where do they get the cookies?
You have to bake new ones, and you start microscopic.
Microscopic.
Yes. The text places immense value on the power of small daily victories. A victory doesn't have to be running an ultramarathon or launching $1 million company.
Okay, good, because I'm not doing either today.
Exactly. If you are starting at absolute zero, a victory is making your bed the exact second your alarm goes off, without hitting snooze.
Just that small action.
It's reading one single chapter of a book instead of scrolling social media for an hour. It's doing 10 push-ups.
I see.
Extraordinary achievements are almost never single, massive events. They are simply the accumulation of very ordinary daily efforts repeated with relentless consistency.
Those small, kept promises go directly into the cookie jar.
Exactly.
And as you rely on this mechanical discipline to stack up those small daily victories, you are inevitably going to hit roadblocks.
Well, without a doubt.
The engine is going to stall, you are going to fail. But the narrative insists that instead of letting a failure derail your momentum, you must use it as the literal blueprint for your continuous evolution.
Because failure is arguably the most valuable asset you have.
Really? More than success.
It often teaches far more than success ever could. When you succeed, you're usually just validating what you already knew you could do.
Yeah, that's true.
But when you fail, you uncover a treasure trove of raw data. A failure objectively reveals exactly where your weaknesses are, where your preparation had gaps, and what specific technical or mental areas require your immediate attention.
I love looking at it like a software bug report.
Oh, explain that.
So if a developer writes a massive program and it suddenly crashes, they don't throw the whole laptop out the window and say, well, I guess computers are fundamentally broken. I'm a terrible person.
Right, that would be ridiculous.
The crash generates a bug report. It points them to the exact line of code that is flawed. The crash is just data. It doesn't mean the developer is inherently bad. It just means line 402 needs to be rewritten.
This raises an important question. Why is our society so completely terrified of failure?
It's a huge stigma.
We tie our entire identity and self-worth to our output. We go to enormous lengths to hide our flaws, curate our social media, and only present our successes to the world.
It's exhausting.
It is. But when you deliberately flip failure into a purely data-gathering exercise, like your bug report analogy, you remove the emotional sting.
You stop taking failure personally.
Exactly. And that detachment leads to the next critical step, which is intentionally turning your weaknesses into your greatest strengths.
Right. The author didn't just casually try to patch his weak spots. He aggressively attacked them.
Head on?
He struggled severely with reading and academics, so he forced himself to study relentlessly, copying entire textbooks by hand until he memorized them.
Just unbelievable dedication.
He was terrified of deep water and physically out of shape, so he focused his entire existence on becoming a Navy SEAL, which requires extreme swimming.
Right.
He hated public speaking, so he made himself do it constantly. The instruction here is to stop masking your weak spots and to run directly at them.
Implementing that requires a massive paradigm shift.
Yeah.
You stop waiting around for hardship to find you, and you begin seeking challenges out intentionally.
But why? Why invite pain?
Because a comfortable, controlled environment will never, ever expose your full capabilities. Voluntary hardship is the gym where mental resilience is built.
Oh, like lifting weights.
Exactly. If you only ever lift light weights, your muscles have no biological reason to adapt and grow stronger.
And the most liberating part of this endless pursuit is that you are only ever competing with yourself.
Yes.
The text specifically warns against the trap of comparing yourself to others. You aren't trying to be richer or faster than the person next to you. Your only metric for success is whether you are fractionally better than the person you were yesterday.
Which is such a healthy way to view it.
Because over a long enough timeline, consistency and persistence will absolutely crush natural talent.
Natural talent is certainly a head start, but talented people often suffer from a hitty fragility.
Because they haven't failed enough.
Because things came easily to them early on, they never had to build those mental calluses. They never had to sit in the friction.
Right.
So when they finally hit a level of real, undeniable adversity, they often panic and quit.
But the persistent person doesn't.
No, the persistent individual, the one who has fought tooth and nail for every single inch of progress, has the deep neurological resilience to push through.
That's powerful.
And that journey of self-improvement has no finish line. There's always another weakness to address, another skill to master.
Complacency is the ultimate enemy.
It is. The goal is not to achieve a state of perfection and then relax on a beach. The goal is building an unbreakable mindset that simply refuses to surrender no matter what life throws at it.
So what does this all mean? When we look across the starting lines, the science of the 40% rule and the relentless application of discipline, the ultimate synthesis is incredibly empowering.
It really is.
It means that you, listening right now, possess a massive reservoir of untapped potential. You are capable of so much more than your protective brain is currently telling you.
So much more.
By taking absolute ownership of your responses, by deliberately seeking out discomfort, by relying on the mechanical engine of discipline rather than the fleeting spark of motivation, and by refusing to quit when the alarm bells ring, you can achieve levels of resilience you currently think are impossible. But it all starts with facing the mirror.
Yeah, it starts with the truth.
We at sharingsstories.in bring you insightful book summaries. This content is supported by plots4movies.com, an AI-enabled book trailer platform where you can watch 1-minute trailers of books to understand them better before you buy them.
Such a cool concept.
Please subscribe, support the channel, buy the book through the link in the description, and leave a comment with the book you want us to discuss in our next deep dive.
As we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. If growth and comfort rarely coexist, what comfortable everyday habit in your life is secretly your biggest obstacle right now?